lot of people think that, energy healing and tarot cards and oracle cards, it's all woo-woo stuff. It's difficult collecting the evidence. Just let me correct, I'm still Christian.
Are you?
See, it's more than believing in God.
Yep.
You see, I believe, any sort of religion, it's a way of life. Light language that I speak is channeled language from source.
Where do you learn this language?
Yeah, unbuckled.
Unbuckled discussion.
Unbuckled discussion.
This is Unbuckled Discussions.
Unbuckled discussions. Unbuckled discussions.
Unbuckled Discussions. Welcome to Unbuckled Discussions. The full non-squeaky version of this podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, and soon to be all other podcasting platforms. For more of me, please follow the Unbuckled Experience on Instagram.
So, how are you, Helen?
Very, very well, Neil. How are you today?
I'm started off a little bit stressed, but great now.
Yeah. It's easy to get stressed, isn't it, with all those external things when you've got a bit of a time frame to go to?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
And all these little gadgets and so on. I find the gadgets make me stressed, to be honest, because I'm not very savvy at using them or learning. I'm still learning, so yeah, when there's a technical problem with computers, it easily makes me stressed. But just breathe, relax, and
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what techniques do you use for de-stressing?
I sing a song that makes me comfortable, I guess, in my head. I don't have enough techniques. My one friend who's a primary school teacher told me I should just trace out my hand and count as one technique. I should, but I don't actively do anything actually when I get stressed. I just try and solve the problem. Do you recommend any techniques?
Yeah, I've got lots of different techniques to manage stress. So the first one is to recognise that you are feeling stressed, or that you're under some sort of time pressure. Yeah, and you just mentioned take a deep breath. That's the best place to start, because while you're focused on your breathing, you get out of your head really, really quickly. Yeah. So after you take a deep breath, I recommend that you look at something in your environment. You just said another one, your hand, but something in nature is really wonderful. Yeah. Feel your feet, feel your toes and your shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay, yeah.
Anything that gets you out of your head long enough for you to reset, yeah? Because you see, life is an inside job, but we get so busy with all the external stuff, yeah? And it's the external stuff that can continue to stress us when we're not calm on the inside.
Okay.
Yeah, so anything that calms you down, if thinking of the beach or, going up into a mountain or just walking through a rose garden, just visualise that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Visualizing those activities that calm me down.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and being on the beach or being in the rainforest, there's like when I am just overwhelmed with stress, the first thing I do is go for a walk in the rainforest. So just visualizing that actually.
Yeah, because you connected to your spirit self is like a rainforest, right? So this is all about connecting to you. And so what we see around us that we really, really love is how we feel at the deepest inner soul part of our being. You know what that feels like when you're in the forest, calm, and it's just like awesome, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's awe.
It sounds like something I heard somebody talk about yogic sciences relates to, like realizing the connection of your mind to everything else around you.
That's right. And it's just our mind.
Yeah.
And when we're out of our mind, we can actually deliberately create calmness, joy, harmony, love, whatever emotion is that we really want to feel. And this is how we manifest as well, by deliberately feeling as though we've got, the world at our feet, that we've got everything that we need. Feeling that actually generates abundance in its physical form.
Okay.
So if you can't generate that feeling first, you'll never have peace of mind. You'll never experience true joy.
No matter what you're doing.
No matter what you're doing.
When do you think you mastered, I'm not saying you have, but when do you think you had a good grasp of this?
I'm glad you said that I haven't.
Yeah. When do you think you had a good grasp of that notion and with yourself?
All right, so I've done lots of spiritual activities and practices over the years. And what I've noticed is that we think we've got it, and then there's another depth to it, another layer, another level of how profound it can be. So when did I start feeling peaceful? Deliberately creating that for myself was probably 20 years ago. But it's just gotten deeper, and you don't have to create it, because it's becoming my state of being.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's been my intention always to bring peace, love and joy wherever I am.
Just in the last 20 years or prior to the last 20 years as well?
Oh, before the first 20 years, I was pretty much in the land of doing rather than the land of being. I had a busy job working as a registered nurse for 25 years. I had 2 children. I had 2 businesses. One was a home care service, the other was a nursing employment agency. So from my 20s to my 40s, they were like pretty busy. And But it was through all of my nursing work and caring for palliative people where I really started to learn the concept of being peaceful no matter what. You can be really sick, you can be dying, but you can be very peaceful. So that sort of started for me in about 1991 when I started dedicating my service to people who are getting ready to pass over.
Oh, okay.
So that taught me lots and lots of lessons. And I had 2 young children at that time. Well, I didn't have any children when I first started it, but then I did have 2 children. So,
True.
yeah.
So, sorry to go off on a little bit of a tangent.
Yeah.
So in your childhood, in your earlier years, were you raised of any particular faith? Were you raised Christian or?
Yeah, so raised Christian. I've got 4 siblings, and my mum was a very strict Catholic. Yeah, so we would go to church every weekend and sing in the choir. We went to Catholic school, and so I think all of that taught me as well that kindness is the way, love and kindness.
So you feel like you got a lot of your ethics from that?
From my parents.
From your parents,
but also from my faith. Yeah.
And was there a distinct, like now that, what? Wait, before I continue, what is this a belief system? Is this a religion? Is it a what would you label this as?
This is none of the above.
Yep.
This is an opportunity to, so what I do here is that I do energy healing work, and I use crystals and I use sound to actually shift people out of a stressed state of being or a diseased state. And so I suppose it's some sort of a health and well-being practice. I bring spiritual practice into that. I hold retreats where we do a whole day of meditation and healing. Yeah.
But meditation, like no particular faith or anything, just focusing on yourself.
Yes, focusing on yourself, because that's all we have, right? Is ourself, and it's our one constant throughout our entire life. Yeah.
True, can't argue with that. So, when you started to understand this, I'll get to how you started to understand energy healing and all of the above. Did you drift away from the Abrahamic faith?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I certainly did. And my mum used to say to me, "Helen, have you been to church this week?"
Yeah.
And I would say, "Mum, no, I haven't." And it's okay, because it doesn't matter where I am, I can talk to God. I can talk to the source of all being anytime I choose,
Yeah, you don't have to be in a building that's been designated for it.
And that's who I am, and that's who you are. We're all created from the source of all that is. So it's essentially having an existential conversation with yourself, and a lot of that prayer is about asking for something and giving thanks.
Are you saying that God is within every one of us?
Absolutely.
Like, as in he's not a separate being, he's inside of us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that explanation before. So then do you believe in what's defined in the Bible as God, or the Quran or the Torah? Do you believe in that God that they talk of in those Abrahamic faiths?
I believe that there are people that have walked this earth that have been excellent role models. And I think
the prophets you're talking about.
Yes,
yep, okay.
That's right. Or people who lead the way. Yeah, and I think the books and the reverence is for those people who've shown us a different way of being, for us to connect more to ourselves. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. I've often thought of it like that, to be honest.
Yeah, so the Bible, we talk about all these people. They were people like you, like me. There are congregations all over the place of religious faith, but there are also congregations of spiritual people, congregations of men getting together to better themselves, to do good things in the community. I think that's the same thing as being written about in the Bible.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. So you don't think that God dictated his words to those people? You just think they were of a higher knowledge at the time?
You see, we can all be connected to the source of everything whenever we choose. When I say the source of anything, you've heard people channeling, particular spirit guides, particular angels, particular people that have passed over, all of those things, So this is when you're connected to your intuition and you're open to the messages. You get those messages in lots of different ways. You can hear the message, you can just know the message, you can visualize it, so there's like 5 or 6 or 7, that's our extra senses, A lot of people feel the messages. Like when I'm doing a healing session, I can tell you where your aches and pains are, because I feel you, because my whole attention is connecting with you and your higher self for the best outcome for your healing session. So I think that going back to the Bible, they've probably channeled messages from other realms, from different dimensions, directly from their higher self.
Yep.
Yeah?
And they perceived it as...
That's right.
As a particular God.
I believe that, way back then, people might have been challenged with, attraction to another man's wife, and it was like, they asked for help. How do I deal with this? And the message was, don't do it. And then they wrote it in the tablet form as one of the 10 Commandments. Yeah, and you see a lot of people these days, they do automatic writing. So they open up their spiritual channel and the words just flow. They pick up their pen and the words just flow. So, you know, the person who wrote the Bible could have been doing the automatic flowing of writing, or the Quran, or whichever.
Yeah, you don't see each of those Abrahamic faiths any differently to each other? No?
I think it's all the same.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a different variation depending upon which country you were brought up in, really.
Yeah, I like that. One second, let me just make sure. Do you think that when you were Christian, did you have a different opinion about Islam or Judaism?
Just let me correct, I'm still Christian.
Oh, you are? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't go to church and I don't do all of that. But, you know, a Christian is somebody who, I believe, see, it's more than believing in God.
Yep.
You see, I believe, you know, any sort of religion, it's a way of life. Yeah. So I've explored all the religions, you know. I've got a big Buddha that sits at my front door.
Yeah.
I don't think one is better than another. You know, we all get to choose. You see, what makes us human is that we can choose.
Yes.
Yeah? And so you can choose whatever you want to believe. Is it the truth? It's the truth for you. And if it's the truth for you, if I'm being a respectful, honourable, unconditionally loving person, I will just appreciate that for you.
Yep.
Yeah? I don't have to have a different opinion that I voice, yeah? Or make derogatory remarks, or even encourage you in any form. When we're really at peace, everything can just be the way it is. Yeah?
Yeah, I like that. And if everybody thought like that, that would solve a lot of conflicts in the world, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There is a lot of, there's a lot of people of each Abrahamic faith and other religions that would disagree with that and think that their religion's the only way, and they would say a person that believes in energy healing isn't a true Christian. And I'm not saying those people are right, because it actually says in each book that it's not their job to judge. You know?
That's right.
But a lot of people forget to read that part about it. But so have you encountered any backlash like that from Christian people or any other faith?
Yeah, unbuckled.
Unbuckled discussion.
Unbuckled discussion.
This is Unbuckled Discussions.
Unbuckled discussions. Unbuckled discussions.
Unbuckled Discussions.
Welcome to Unbuckled Discussions.